In this lesson, we will be learning about scope of variables. Let us first try to understand what exactly it means. The part of a program where a variable is accessible is called its scope. So basically, the scope is the visibility of a variable declared within a specific region. Now, there are two types of scopes defined for any kind of variables in Python programming language, and they are local scope and global scope. Let us start with the local scope and try to understand it. A variable created inside a function belongs to the local scope of that function and can only be used inside that function. And if we try to access that particular variable outside the block, we will not be able to access the variable as it does not exist. Let us try to understand the concept of local variables. Let us define a function named func and declare some variables inside the function, and then try to access this variable from within the function. So here you can successfully access your variable from within the function. But if you try to access the same variable from outside of the function, you can see that it is going to throw an error. Let's try to understand this code in step-by-step manner. In this example, we have a function called myFunction. Inside the function, there is a line a equal to 10. Here, a is a local variable because it is defined within the function. It exists only within the scope of the function. When we call myFunction using myFunction, it executes the code inside the function. It prints the value of a, which is 10, as specified by the print a statement. But if we try to access the local variable a outside the function, as shown in print a, it will result in an error. This error is raised because a is not defined outside the function. Local variables are accessible only within the scope where they are defined. So to summarize, local variables are variables that are defined within a specific function or block of code. They have a limited lifespan and can only be accessed within their respective scope. If you try to access a local variable outside its scope, you will encounter a name error stating that the variable is not defined. So I hope you got the clarity for the local scope of variables. Next, let us try to understand global scope of variables. Global variables are variables which are created outside of the function, but they can be accessed from anywhere. This means that the global variables can be accessed from anywhere, even from outside of the function. Let's take an example and understand it better. In this example, we have a variable x assigned the value 27.63 outside of any function or block of code. This makes x a global variable, which means it can be accessed from anywhere within the program. Then we have a function called function. Inside the function, there is a line print x. Here, x refers to the global variable we defined earlier. Since x is a global variable, it can be accessed and used within the function without any issues. When we call function using function, it executes the code inside the function. In this case, it prints the value of x, which is 27.63, as specified by the print x statement. So to summarize, in this code, we have a global variable x that is accessible from anywhere within the program. Inside the function, we can access and use the global variable x without any problem. When we call the function, it prints the value of x to the console. So I hope that you have got the basic understanding of variables scope. Let us discuss an amazing trick using which we can directly create global variables using the global keyword. But before that, let us also try to understand why we even need to learn the global keyword. Let us suppose if we want to create a global variable but are stuck in the local scope. Now, in such cases, we can use the global keyword. Keywords are the reserved words in Python that cannot be used as variable names or any other identifiers. Let us take an example to understand the use of the global keyword. In this example, we have defined a function called function. Inside the function, there are a few things happening. First, we see the line global x. This line tells Python that we want to use the global variable x within the function. By default, variables created inside a function are considered local to that function. However, using the global keyword allows us to access and modify a global variable from within the function. Next, we have the line x equal to awesome. This line assigns the value awesome to the global variable x. Then we have the line print x. This line prints the value of x, which is awesome, to the console. When we call the function using function, it executes the code inside the function. It first declares that we want to use the global variable x, assign the value awesome to x, and then print the value of x, which is awesome. After the function is called, we have the line print x. This line prints the value of x outside the function. Since we declared x as a global variable inside the function, the updated value of awesome is still accessible outside the function. Therefore, it will print awesome again. So to summarize, in this code, we declare a global variable x using the global keyword inside the function. We then modify the value of x inside the function and print it. The updated value of x is still accessible outside the function and can be printed again. We can see that the variable can be accessed successfully from within the function. And with this, we have come to the conclusion of this lesson, where we learned about the local scope and the global scope of the variable.